Genetics is the science of genes, which are the basis of heredity and variation in living organisms. Genetic research helps us answer questions like why certain types of corn may survive better in warmer climates, or why certain individuals may be more susceptible to cancer than others. Geneticists are the people who study genes in hopes of better understanding the building blocks of how our bodies work, and to one day predict or even cure many diseases.
I'm Wendy Rubenstein. I'm a medical geneticist at North Shore University Health System. I direct the Center for Medical Genetics, which is a group of medical geneticists like myself and genetic counselors that are masters trained to speak with patients, gather a family history. We have a clinical practice, and we also do research, and we train physicians and other health professionals. So we do a combination of clinical work as well as research. Genes are our blueprint for who we are, what we look like, how our bodies are constructed, all of the energy that we get, the metabolism, the hair color, and the reason that we look a little like one parent and act a little bit like the other parent. We essentially get half of our genes from each parent, one half from one parent, one half from the other parent, and it mixes up and we're a unique person. Actually, when gene testing is done, it's done typically through a blood test, but it can be done even through some cells from the cheek. And essentially the DNA, which is what the genes are made of, is analyzed. A project called the Human Genome Project was completed just a few years ago, and at the beginning it was unimaginable that we would understand what all of the human genes are. And now we know that there are about 25,000 human genes. We have the complete sequence on them and are just starting to understand what they all do and how those genes interact with each other. So understanding that is immediately leading to a much better understanding of disease. And when we talk about medical interventions, if there's a genetic problem, typically these days that still means that we're doing tests and regular medical exams to try to catch problems early or prevent them. We're not quite at the point where we're correcting genes, though there's certainly a lot of research in that area. I guess I was the kind of kid who always wanted to do something interesting and wanted to have an interesting profession. I thought I might write at one point. I thought probably about many different things, but science became more interesting, I think, as it became taught in a more sophisticated way. I knew that if I went into medicine, not only would it be interesting, but it would require me to grow as a person. And I would come across very interesting other professionals during my life and also have important responsibilities to take care of people. When I think about lifetime achievements, very important things, I can't help but come back to the very basic thing that any person goes into medicine for, which is to save even one human life. So I think it always comes back to that. As we think about impact, of course, if you can figure out certain discoveries that impact many people at once, that would be even more important. And so I think discovering additional genes that cause cancer, which is my main area of interest, and then ultimately figuring out the best ways to prevent those illnesses, that would be a real achievement.